For Good Neighbor Day, I want to talk about bad neighbors. We are going to talk about nuisance, particularly civil nuisance. There are two different types. We have criminal nuisance and we have civil nuisance. For criminal nuisance, I can defend you. We can go in there if you've been cited. But in general, this office deals with civil nuisance. The two types of civil nuisance in Ohio. One is private nuisance, where someone's bothering you. That can either be with noise, with strong odor. That can be with light. We've dealt with that before, shining bright lights in, having big parties, having dogs barking at all hours, debris and leaves blowing on over, or people dumping their garbage on each other's property. All of these can be considered private nuisance. We also have something called a public nuisance, which we can certainly do, but in general will fall under more criminal prosecution. That's really with a problem area that affects everybody. That noise could certainly be one of them, but oftentimes we're talking crime, we're talking drug activity, we're talking a place that needs to be shut down because it is attracting bad elements. This happened recently down in the Flats, where we had a problem bar that was shut down by the city of Cleveland because they were attracting a nuisance element. What our firm deals with most when we're talking about private nuisances, we're talking about noise, we're talking about excessive noise. That's not just a little bit of noise. We're talking about really is causing an impediment for someone being able to use and enjoy their property. We're talking about odors and pollution. We get a lot of calls, excessive marijuana smoke. We get calls about fires burning it all the time. Some people burn trash next door. Don't do that. Or leaves without getting a permit. This can't just be any odor. Famously in Cleveland Heights, one neighbor sued another neighbor because of the smell of his outdoor pizza oven was allegedly causing a nuisance. There are limits to what constitutes an odor. The smell of fresh cooked pizza does not fall within those limits. Property maintenance issues. That could be overgrown garden, that can be leaves falling, trees falling, other kinds of things that can constitute a nuisance. There's a related issue of trespass, right? Of a person is going on your property or putting their things on your property that can constitute both a nuisance and trespass. And finally, just general criminal activity. If you've got a neighbor who the cops are being called on all the time, or they're constantly engaging in illegal activity over there such that it is preventing your ability to actually use your own property, that can also constitute both a private and a public nuisance. So when we're talking about civil nuisances, usually we're talking about an injunction. We want to bring a complaint to stop whatever that nuisance is. We want to enjoin them, stop them, in an injunction from committing further acts, and also seek damages, that's money, for those bad acts. As a start of a typical nuisance case, that means we're going to be filing for a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction to stop that activity, whatever it is, while the case itself proceeds. A lot of our nuisance claims are resolved at that first hearing. At the preliminary injunction, either people will agree to be enjoined, they will agree to a court order to stop doing that, or a court will just stop them, and then we move on to the damages claim. This can get harder, and you have to pick your battles wisely if you've got a truly belligerent neighbor. Truly belligerent neighbors don't care about court orders. So you can get your injunction and later come back, call me saying they're still doing it. Now we have to go back to court and enforce that existing injunction. That include additional monetary penalties. That can include sometimes jail time. But if you think you've got an issue where you've got someone who absolutely is not going to follow a court order, you may want to consider a criminal over a civil injunction and pursuing it that way. Cleveland recently, as of last year, updated its own criminal nuisance statutes to make it a lot easier to declare certain properties a nuisance. So calling the police, trying to do it that way is certainly a viable option. It is Good Neighbor Day. Don't be a nuisance, or don't be accused of a nuisance. Talk to your neighbors, right? And if they've got a problem with your property, try to address it there first before getting attorneys involved. I'm not trying to talk you out of hiring us, but so many of these nuisance claims, in my opinion, happen because not necessarily of the nuisance activity, but how people react around it. We represent both sides on this. And one of the first questions I often get from the judge when we have our first case is, why can't these guys just talk? So try that first. And if you can't, give our office a call. We're happy to help.